So I want to mention just a little bit of history, and you probably know this. Most people probably do, but I'll mention it anyway in case someone doesn't. So the original Iron Man movie, the one from 2008, was supposed to have the Mandarin in it.
I did not know this.
Okay, well, the basic premise for that whole movie, the thing that everyone loves about it is that so much of it is improvised and so much of it is just people talking over each other. The reason for that is because they didn't have a script. That movie has a very basic outline of a plot that would change every single day. The meeting for the Iron Man movie would open with, okay, so what do we shoot today? Not any sort of plan. And Jeff Bridges he wasn't supposed to get an armor, then he got an armor, and then the idea was that he'd be the Mandarin, and then he's not the Mandarin, and the Mandarin was supposed to be in the movie, and then he's not in the movie. The Mandarin being in that movie was part of the plan for so long that there was a mini-series from Marvel called Enter the Mandarin that recapped their origin, that came out by, I think, Joe Casey, and this movie. So this movie and that comic were supposed to set up an Iron Man film with the Mandarin in it, and it never happened.
And then Iron Man 3 came around, and everyone got pissed off.
Yeah, and that's irritating as well, because people want to lob the criticism of that movie if that's not the Mandarin, but if you read the comics, there is no consistent Mandarin. He's different every time. This Mandarin for this movie has nothing to do with any Mandarin from the comics at all.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't really care about what they did with Mandarin in Iron Man 3. It's fine. It works for the thematic role they were trying to do. I just was really hoping that they'd, have Tony Stark. Like, it gets weird because there's kind of a plot thread in that movie of Tony Stark dealing with trying to understand from a scientific point of view all these seemingly impossible things, and it would have been really interesting to cap that off with a mystical-ish villain, and then that just didn't really happen.
Well, the interesting thing about Iron Man comics is that it's magic versus science, and it's one of the only things where science always wins.
Yeah,
and you never use that anywhere?
Yeah, I mean, because traditionally the rule is in magic versus science, magic wins.
Or you redefine science to just be magic.
Yeah. So, I don't know, I was really hoping that that's what they were going to do when they announced Mandarin as the villain, and, it would have worked with Asgardian technology or something like that. But I don't know, what they did with it's fine. I was disappointed in what they did with Mandarin because it was, not what would have been, in my opinion, interesting. It also means Tony Stark hates people with, Tony Stark hates amputees.